Hello, hello. Welcome to today's live stream. I am Jeanetta Garrison. I'm a licensed therapist, public speaker, and mental health expert. My specialty is helping high achieving professionals calm their brain and body so they can have fulfilling lives without anxiety getting in the way. I do this through therapy, workshops, presentations. I also partner with organizations, universities, businesses to assist them in their mental health needs as well. So, I'm doing a series of live streams throughout the month of May for Mental Health Awareness Month. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on notifications. That will be the best way for you to be notified as to when I go live. And if you so happen to miss the live stream, you can always come back to the channel and watch the video. It'll be in the feed, but it is great to have participants come in and join live so that one, I'm not talking to myself. And two, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments and things like that, and I'll answer during the live stream. So one other bit of housekeeping, be sure to give this video a like if you like it. By you doing that, that just gets more eyes on the video so that other people will be able to see it. It also helps me to grow my channel. It also helps me to know that whether or not you actually like the content and find it helpful. One of my things is I always want to make sure that I am being helpful in the information that I offer and that I am offering value to those who consume it, take it in, right? And the best way for me to know that is with feedback from you. So you may notice that on the top of the screen here, here, there's a little QR code with scan me. If you scan that, it will take you to my website. It'll take you to my website, which is crowncounselingandconsulting.com. And on the website, you'll be able to read a little bit more about me, my practice, the type of work that I do, how I help. There's also a free anxiety relief checklist at that website. You just go to the website. At the very top of the page, there's a banner that says anxiety relief checklist for high achievers, and you just click there and you'll get your checklist. And it has it has 10, maybe that's tons, maybe that's, I don't know. It has 10 tips, 10 practical tips and strategies that you can use to start to reduce stress and anxiety. So there's the tips and there's also videos included with that. So it's jam-packed full of information. Again, if you just go to my website, you'll be able to view it there. So today's topic, the topic of today's live stream is, here we are. Yes. Sleep deprivation among high achieving professionals. Also, I am just going to put this out there. I'm trying out a bit of software, this technology that I'm using. I'm also new to live streaming. So this is a bit of like a vulnerable moment, and it's bumping up against my I have to be perfect thing. So I ask that you bear with me as I bear with myself. And I may have a few little like bumps here and there, but you get the point. You get the gist, right? The information is still there. It's still helpful, as I hope. So as I mentioned, the topic of today's live stream is sleep deprivation among high achieving professionals. So what we will be covering today, what I will be covering today, is factors related to sleep deprivation, and also how to resolve some of those factors related to sleep deprivation among high achieving professionals. So let's start with factors contributing to sleep problems. So there are a lot of different reasons that people may encounter sleep problems, sleep deprivation, trouble falling asleep. When I say sleep problems, I mean trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, not feeling rested upon waking, things like that. So there are a lot of different reasons that a person may encounter those. So in this video, we are not going to cover all of the reasons. We're going to cover a few of the reasons. If you would like me to come back and talk a bit more in depth about sleep problems, sleep hygiene, things like that, just let me know. Let me know in the comments. Sleep is my jam. I love talking about it. It's one of the first things that I assess when I start working with a new client in therapy, because sleep is so integral in just our daily lives. So, again, there are a lot of different factors and reasons as to why a person may encounter sleep problems. So, we're only going to cover a few today. The first factor that I wanted to make sure I highlight, and I'm coming in hot, y'all, is something that comes up quite a bit with high achievers. This idea that their productivity is somehow tied to their value as a human being, as a person. And so that underlying belief oftentimes is a barrier and gets in the way of people allowing themselves to rest, to take breaks. They have this, kind of like thing in their mind, again, an underlying belief in their mind where they view not being active, not being productive as somehow being a negative thing, them being lazy, them, things like that. And so that type of mindset carries over and impacts the sleep that you're trying to get at night as well. So the first thing I want to make sure to let you know is that your value is not tied to your productivity. This belief that a human being's value is connected to their productivity is something that is strongly tied to um, American society. I believe it's present in other parts of the world as well, but since I live in America, I've lived in other countries, but since I live in America, I'm going to talk about my experience as an American in America, right? So I believe that a large part of American society is there's like this interwoven beliefs around a person's value, their achievements, their output, things like that. And that goes back years, centuries, back to even the founding of this country. A person was not deemed valuable if they could not produce, right? And so that type of mentality, that mindset of I have to produce, initially it may have started out as a means of literal survival for folks who had no choice but to produce, or they would be placed in harm's way or removed from their loved ones, right? And that way of thinking has transferred down through generations. And I think it applies to a lot of different subsets of cultures within America as well. But it has translated down and transferred down to each subsequent generation. And so there's this strong, sort of like conflated belief around a person's value being tied to their productivity. So I just wanted to remind you that your value is not tied to your productivity. Even in the way that the language, the words that we use, the phrases that we use, when people say things like, I want to be paid my worth, while I get the gist of what they're trying to convey, but at the end of the day, honey, you are priceless. You are priceless. There is no dollar amount equal to what you as a human being is worth, right? So the belief that I want to be paid my worth, and someone will be paying infinity amounts of dollars and cents for you. I encourage you to even just reframe the way you think about that, right? From paid your worth to I want to be compensated through a wage that directly correlates to my experience, my education, my back my the my pro- my yeah, my experience, my education, my background, maybe even the market rate for this position, this role, things like that, so that you don't have this strong connection to a dollar amount, productivity, output, and your value as a person. Because what happens if you can't produce? Does that mean that you're not valuable anymore? No. Okay. So off my soapbox for that. I can talk for a long time about that one that one bullet point, but I won't today. I will maybe in the future, but I won't today. So again, the first reminder is the first factor contributing to sleep problems is the belief that your value is somehow tied to your productivity. The second, the next factor contributing to sleep problems is screen time. Screen time. We are all on our screens a long time, a long time. And that has an impact on your brain. It has an impact on your circadian rhythm. It has an impact. So I forgot to mention at the beginning. So the first part, I'm going to just like quickly say what the factors are, and then the second part, I will talk about how to mitigate the factors. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so again, this tip is prolonged screen time has an impact on sleep. Next factor contributing to sleep problems is the waterfall of thoughts, the racing thoughts that always seem to just like go, 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 go. Being a high achiever, you probably always have this like list of things to do, task list, right? Refer back to my previous video. I did a previous video in the live stream series talking about time management strategies for high achievers. So I'll be sure to link that video in the description so that you can watch and learn a few time management strategies just to kind of deal with the as a high achiever, you're always thinking, brain is always going, so all these thoughts are going. And when it's time for you to, lie down at night and rest, it's hard for you to turn your brain off. I've heard that phrase a lot from folks. It's hard for me to turn my brain off. What do I do? So we're going to talk about what do you do when it's hard for you to turn your brain off. And the next factor that we'll talk about is mental health concerns. Mental health concerns such as anxiety, trauma, impact a person's sleep. So again, the anxiety can cause racing thoughts, feeling like you can't turn your brain off. Trauma can can cause the same type of thing. A person who's experienced a traumatic event events may have nightmares. So that impacts their ability to fall asleep, stay asleep, things like that. So there are a variety of mental health concerns that can impact a person's sleep quality. So now we are going to get into, here we are, how to mitigate these factors, how to mitigate these contributing factors that are underlying your sleep problems, right? So the first again, we're going to go back to prolonged screen time. So studies show that 2 or more hours of screen time per night in the evening can seriously disrupt the melatonin surge needed for you to fall asleep. Again, I'll repeat that again. Studies show that 2 or more hours of screen time in the evening can disrupt the surge of melatonin needed to fall asleep. So earlier I mentioned prolonged screen time has an impact on the brain, right? It has an impact on the brain. So I won't nerd out on you on neuroscience. I can, I won't, not today. But um, there's a thing called circadian rhythm. You may or may not have heard of this before, but essentially, circadian rhythm is the body's natural rhythm that controls sleeping and waking, when we are asleep and when we are awake. Okay. And so, before we had screens, technology, um, electricity, even humans, existed, right? And they would naturally wake up when the sun rises and go to sleep, wind down, go to sleep when the sun sets. But now we have these things called cell phones, television, computers, laptops, tablets, all these different things. And what did they emit? They emit blue light. What also emits blue light? The sun. So essentially, our devices, our screens are fake sun. They are fake sun that is throwing off your body's circadian rhythm. So even though the sun may have gone down, outside, you lie in your bed and you pull out your phone and you're like scrolling, watching stuff, looking at videos, whatever you're doing, that is throwing off your brain, because it's like, okay, I know the sun is down, but the sun is in my hand. I'm looking at it. So it really throws it off. So you want to be mindful of the amount of screen time that you get, particularly when it's in the evening. So I would recommend stopping your screen time at least 1 hour before your bedtime. This requires you to know your bedtime also, right? So another like kind of bonus tip is go to bed and wake up pretty on a pretty consistent schedule every day, weekdays and weekends, so that you're resetting your circadian rhythm, you're resetting your body's rhythm, so your body will know. So that means once you know what your bedtime is, eliminate your screens about an hour before your bedtime, and do something else. If you're not sleepy, right? If you're not sleepy, scrolling on your phone and watching, television may not actually make you sleepy. So do something else, like read a book, maybe listen to a meditation. You can wind down in the evenings by moving your body around, right? Like going for a walk or just different things, have some tea, just different things that don't involve you staring at a screen, staring at a screen. Okay, so next is okay, the waterfall of thoughts. The waterfall of thoughts. So, as I mentioned, oftentimes high achievers have a lot of responsibilities, right? Whether it's work, family, friends, they have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of roles, a lot of things to do. And so, with all of that, with a lot of things to do, you often may find yourself with a lot of thoughts tied to all the things that you need to do, all the responsibilities that you have to manage, all the people that you're responsible for. You're just sort of like thinking, thinking, thinking. And I call it a waterfall of thoughts. That's sort of just my made up term, the waterfall, because they just like keep coming, all the thoughts keep coming, keep coming. So one way to mitigate that factor is keep a notebook pen and paper near your bed, like on your nightstand. Keep it near your bed. And when you have a thought that you want to remember, write it in your notebook. Again, I didn't say put it in your phone, in your notes app, because we're eliminating screens, right? So just jot down anything that you want to remember. You know, the brain is great for creating ideas. It's not great for holding on to ideas. So if you want to make sure you hold on to the idea, jot it down, because, you know, when you have this brilliant idea or this thing that you need to remember or thing that you want to add to your success list, refer to the previous video to know what I'm talking about, success list. When you you know, have ideas about your success list, you don't want to, it takes a lot of energy to try to hold on to the thought in your brain. Again, the brain is great for making ideas, creating thoughts. It's not great for holding on to the ideas. So go ahead and just like do the brain dump and write down all the things, you know, anything that pops in your head, like a stream of consciousness, just write it down. Don't edit as you go, just like write it down. Um, uh, in relation to that, so doing a brain dump, right? Doing a brain dump at the end of your work day or the end of your day, it's helpful to have a transition from work time to off work time. So maybe one of the things that you do to help your brain transition from work time to off work time, particularly if you work from home, because your commute would normally be the brain signal that, hey, we're off, we're done. But if you're working from home, you know, you need to have some type of routine to alert your brain that this is the end of work time and this is the beginning of off work time. And doing a brain dump at the end of your work time is a great signal to, one, remind your brain that, hey, we're off right now, so I don't have to worry about all the things. All the things will be there for me later when I come back to them. And it's also a way for you to free up that mental energy that will be devoted to trying to remember all the things, you know, remember all the things. So just sort of just doing a brain dump at the end of the day. I think this idea is particularly helpful for folks who are deep thinkers, who have they problem solve, you know, whether that's a part of just their nature or a part of their job. And I think that maybe everyone watching this video, all of us, self included, you know, we have just a lot of things going on in our brain, in our mind, and it's helpful to have a way to just sort of release, you know, let that go, right? And finally, I wanted to revisit the mental health concerns. So, mental health concerns as an underlying factor contributing to sleep deprivation. So, our body gives us clues that something is up, something's going on. The body is giving us clues. It is up to us to pay attention, recognize, and honor the clues that the body is giving us. So, insomnia, trouble falling asleep, trouble staying asleep, not having restful sleep could all be clues, indicators that something is going on with your mental health. Something is going on with your mental health that needs attention. You do not have to push through. Let me say that again. You do not have to push through. You do not have to suck it up and keep going. It's okay for you to get your needs met, but in order for you to get your needs met, it's important for you to recognize and honor what those needs are. You know, going back to the first thing that we mentioned in the beginning, related to the belief that a person's value is tied to their productivity. If when that belief is present, that also means that a person, they ignore and they push through their personal needs and their personal indicators, because their value is not on themselves as a human being, their value is on their output. So it's sort of like, I'm going to make sure I produce and do the things that, that I'm expected to do by any means necessary. And usually the cost is your mind and your body, just to be honest. So, again, your body gives us clues. Sometimes insomnia can be a symptom of several different mental health disorders. So I can't just a blanket statement say if you have insomnia, then you have anxiety. I can't do that. But insomnia or sleep is one of the questions that I ask every person that comes across my virtual couch. I'm asking about your sleep. How are you sleeping? How do you feel when you wake up? Do you feel tired? Do you feel rested? What's going on? What's going on with your sleep? Because that's often a clue that something is happening beneath the surface with your mental health. So whether it's like racing thoughts, feeling like you can't turn your brain off, you have just sort of this waterfall of thoughts. Like I mentioned earlier, it could be sleep problems related to like trauma, PTSD, flashbacks, nightmares, things like that. A lot of different, a lot of different reasons, but just sort of the overarching idea that I want you to take away from this is that having sleep problems can be an indicator that there's something else happening. There's something else going on. When is it time to contact a therapist? This is a question that a lot of people have. When is it time to contact a therapist? When it's time to contact a therapist is when what you're dealing with is interfering with your daily functioning. It's interfering with your daily functioning. Okay. So what that means is the anxiety, the stress, the sleep problems, whatever it is, fill in the blank, whatever it is that you're dealing with is interfering with you being able to work. It's interfering with you being able to have social interactions, interpersonal interactions. It's interfering with, like, if you're in school, it's interfering with school, your studies. Whenever what you're dealing with is interfering with your daily functioning and you've tried all the things and all the things are not working, it's time to call a therapist. It is time to call a therapist. And so I'm not saying that you have to call me. I would be honored to join you on your mental health journey. But I would strongly recommend it's time to call a therapist. And sometimes it's just, you need to just talk about some things with a trained professional, a neutral third party that can help you sort of like process and work on those different things. So again, if you would like to work with me, I am a certified anxiety treatment professional. I'm also trained in EMDR. My specialty is helping high achieving professionals calm their brain and body so they can have fulfilling lives without anxiety getting in the way. If you would like to learn more about me, the work that I'm doing, and even how to connect with me, I invite you to visit my website, crowncounselingandconsulting.com. You can also scan the QR code. Where is it? Here. Here it is. You can also scan the QR code and that'll take you directly to my website. Again, as I mentioned, there's also a free anxiety relief checklist there with 10 tips that will help you calm your mind and body that you can start using today. And it's totally free. So before we go, I just wanted to one, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching the video. And I would like you to let me know in the comments, let me know what tip or strategy you're going to try, what you are willing to try. And let me know how it goes. So again, my name is Jeanetta Garrison. You can find me on my website, crowncounselingandconsulting.com. You can also find me over on LinkedIn. I hang out over there sometimes. You can find me on LinkedIn. And that's all for today. Again, be sure to turn on Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to be notified of when I go live. And if you learned something, be sure to give this video a like if you like it. Give this video a like if you like it. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.